Arts is made possible by viewers like you.
Arts is presented by the Tobin Center for the Performing Arts, providing the best place anywhere to see and hear a live performance, transforming the performing arts in San Antonio's decade of downtown. The Tobin Center.
On this edition of Arts, experience the world of royal fashion in a historical journey through Fiesta's coronations. Local students tell their unique story of Texas through art. And actor Zach Braff speaks frankly about what inspired his latest project. All this and much, much more on this edition of Arts. Hi, I'm Asia Sheravino and welcome to Arts. Fiesta may be on the down, but the royal party at the Witte Museum continues. We spoke with Curator of Collections, Amy Fulkerson, about their largest Fiesta exhibit, Jewels of the Court, a journey through Fiesta's coronation.
This year, the Witte Museum has been very lucky to stage one of our largest Fiesta exhibits ever. We've got more than 28 wonderful coronation robes on display, and we've had the opportunity to explore the oldest royal tradition in Fiesta, which is the Order of the Alamo, which started in 1909. And so this exhibit really takes you through from the earliest queens associated with the Order of the Alamo, all the way through a timeline of how the dresses have changed and evolved. We get to show the wonderful Battle of Flowers parade, which the Order of the Alamo has been a part of since 1909. And we also get to explore the actual coronation. And even though this is a public event, it's something that many people in San Antonio haven't experienced firsthand. And so you can come and learn more about all the pageantry and history and tradition that goes into the creation of this wonderful royal tradition. These gowns are true works of art, and it's a process that takes a very long time, from the time that the Mistress of the Robes creates the theme for the overall court, which can be several years in advance, working with the court artists to create a design, to working with the dressmakers who take roughly 8 to 9 months to create a single dress. And if you can imagine that each of these artisans is working with a team of people to create these beautiful works of art, it truly is a couture industry right here in San Antonio making these extraordinary gowns. It's all done by hand. We're not talking about anybody gluing on and bedazzling anything. This is really true artistry. And they're amazing things that you get to see up close when you're in our exhibition. You really get to appreciate the level of detail that goes into each and every one. This exhibit is going to run through May 3rd, so you'll have the opportunity to come out all the way through Fiesta to get a chance to learn more about the history of this wonderful event. It's a great way to cool off from all the Fiesta heat.
We'll check back in with the Witte at the end of the show to see all about their new renovations and plans for the summer. We want to hear from you. Do you know of a good story you'd like to see aired on Arts? Let us know by emailing us at arts@klrn.org. If we use your idea, you'll get a screen credit on our program. Next up, we head to Hollywood, Florida to check out the mind behind the Peanuts comics. From original sketchings to a life-size Snoopy doghouse, this exhibition is both fun and educational for visitors of all ages.
We're a visual and performing arts center, and this particular building is where we house our visual art exhibitions for both adults as well as children. We've been in this building since 1990. We moved here with the intent of it becoming the Art and Culture Center, and in 1992 we reopened, and here we are, still here today. Our curator, who's so motivated and is such initiative, will have 15 to 16 different art exhibitions a year. So there's always something new for that person to come here and see.
Our latest exhibit, Charles M. Schulz, Pop Culture and Peanuts. It is a tremendous exhibition that includes 70 original drawings by Charles M. Schulz that span his 50-year career of drawing Peanuts every day throughout those 50 years. And combined with that is a selection of pop culture memorabilia and Peanuts memorabilia spanning also those 50 years. And so we have lots of fun things that Schulz referred to in his strips over the years that are kind of pop culture elements, such as trampoline or skateboarding and surfing and so forth.
It was a wonderful surprise to see that this exhibition is so much more than comic strips. It has all this wonderful memorabilia that makes you realize the importance of Charles Schulz's work. He documented an era through a cartoon strip.
We also have summer camps. We offer programming from ages 6, so there is no age limit, but we bring in a lot of field trips here to the galleries during the summer, as well as we then conduct our own summer arts programming ourselves.
We made insects out of paper mache.
It was really fun.
Yeah, it was really fun. I love Troy.
I made a picture of Snoopy and Charlie Brown all by myself.
We definitely set up some places within the show that kids and grown-ups can interact and have fun. We had a life-size Snoopy doghouse built by Hollywood Woodworking, and they did a spectacular job of building our Snoopy doghouse. And kids and adults are welcome to draw the curtain that's there, and they can look inside and see what Snoopy has.
Oh, well, my favorite part is peeking into Snoopy's doghouse and seeing what's in there. My husband is a woodworker, and he was invited to build the doghouse, so that was really great. There was a lot of discussion as to how it was going to be constructed, and that, in fact, my husband went out and bought old boards because he didn't want to be using brand new wood. I wasn't surprised that this show came here because the Art and Culture Center puts on such great quality exhibitions.
Next up, we visit the Institute of Texan Cultures to visit their new exhibit, Texas, Our Texas. Students from the Monarch Academy at Morgan's Wonderland tell their story of Texas through their unique representations of state symbols, familiar mottos, and favorite aspects of Texan culture. Let's check it out.
Monarch Academy was founded in 2011, adjacent to Morgan's Wonderland, and we are a school for individuals with intellectual disabilities, ages 12 to 24, which makes us unique in that age range. The arts, in my opinion, are basic. Arts should never be cut, ever. They're essential. They're basics to our own cultural awareness, to our sense of well-being, to our cultural literacy. So I have led many schools in my career, and it doesn't matter where I am, the arts, visual and theater arts are always going to be part of the curriculum where I'm working. The creative arts at Monarch are alive and well, and we're thrilled to have had the opportunity with the Institute of Texan Cultures for our students to use paint and brush to a canvas to create art centered around Texas. The theme of it was Texas, Our Texas. They didn't disappoint. And anybody who goes to the Institute of Texan Cultures to see this display will come away moved, I believe, by what these students were able to produce.
This is Texas, Our Texas. This is a student exhibit from the students at Monarch Academy at Morgan's Wonderland. And the concept of the exhibit was to look at the symbols of Texas and kind of learn about those, the official ones, but then also look at the students themselves, their favorite aspect of Texan culture and what they like most about living in Texas. And so they had a writing prompt, which is incorporated also into the exhibit, and then they painted an image that would represent what their favorite part of being in Texas is.
Our art project with the Institute of Texan Cultures has given our students an outlet where not only are they creating art for themselves and for their own creativity and satisfaction, but they're creating it for an audience. And this puts their work in a whole new level. So it's an experience for them that most students don't get. We're very honored and grateful for the opportunity for these students' work to be displayed in such a fine location, meaningful kind of way.
It also gives us a fulfillment of our mission to reach out and provide educational opportunities for the community and to educate the population about Texas and Texan culture. You can find more information at texancultures.com and the education tab for family programs, and then the exhibits tab for exhibits that we have.
In our next segment, reporter Jared Bowen sits down with actor and director of Scrubs fame, Zach Braff. Join us as Braff discusses the inspiration behind his latest labor of love, the crowd-funded film, Wish I Was Here.
Okay, attendance. Grace.
Here.
Tucker.
Here. What's your name?
Anthony.
Anthony's here too, Dad.
All right, Anthony, welcome to our classroom. Now, kids, unless you're on the Autobahn, you're never going to get a car like this up to speed. So in a city like LA, it's really about what it sounds like when you floor it from a full stop.
Yes, but kids, we're on Robertson Boulevard, so there will be no flooring it from a full stop, will there be?
No, sir.
Thank you.
So Zach Braff, your last movie looked at sort of your place in family, and this film also looks at your place in family, but also your father's mortality. And there was a lot of conversation about generations and your ties to the story. So how autobiographical is this story?
Well, I wrote it with my brother Adam, and it really is inspired by our family in lots of ways. It's about brothers and a father, and we took a lot of stories and anecdotes from our own childhood and kind of wove it together with fiction. In the film, the father's very against the son trying to be an actor. My father's my biggest champion and supporter, for example. But we wanted to write about father-son relationships.
I know that there are only threads to what you've experienced, but is it a process by which you and your brother can process things and sort of digest experiences that you've had just by writing something like this?
Sure. Well, I think first and foremost, the terror of losing our father. I mean, that's, I think it was almost not that it was cathartic in any way, but it was something, it's clearly any therapist would say we're dealing with our own fears of mortality and losing a parent. I mean, I'm 39 and my brother's 49. So, when you're in our age range, you start to think about, oh my God, I'm not going to have my parents forever. And then what do I believe about mortality and spirituality? And my brother has 2 young kids, so he's like, what do I teach my kids? I don't even know what I believe yet. What am I going to teach my kids? And so I think that was a way for us to sort of start a conversation with each other, and then eventually our father, because he saw it and it sparked great conversation.
Part of what is so endearing about this film is the relationship your character has with his children. You're not a dad yet.
No.
So how did you arrive at who he would be as a father?
Well, my brother is a really funny dad. He kind of just talks to his kids like they're his peers sometimes, and that always made me laugh. They frustrated me, like, "Oh, come on, man, what are you doing?" Like, and that just always cracked me up. That the kind of dad who's kind of talking to his kids like they're his buddies, and a guy who isn't, who's his own out of the box kind of dad, and that's definitely what interested me. And for me, playing the role, he's supposed to be a dad who's a bit checked out and figures out a way to connect to his kids.
In terms of the filmmaking here, you had to do a Kickstarter campaign in order to have the freedoms that you wanted as a filmmaker. Is that the new structure for filmmaking, do you think? Is that the only way to have this sort of liberty?
No, I don't think that. It was an experiment. I mean, that's what it was. It was like, we were just tired of banging our heads against the wall, so we thought, well, what if this crazy experiment would work? We never imagined it would work in 48 hours. We thought we had a month. So that became a whole new conversation. But no, I don't plan to go crowdfund all my films. It was just sort of wouldn't this be a wonderful experiment? And I don't think a lot of people who love movies but are fully savvy really understand that. So for me, telling a story about my family and something that was going to be a little different and definitely was imperative that I have the final say and not a bank.
And it would seem that it does work more because it was an organic process in the way that you all came together. Even, I think, some of your own clothes you used, you shot some of it in your own home.
Oh yeah, everything. Well, when you make a movie on a lower budget, almost every piece of wardrobe is mine. Kate wore a lot of her own clothes. The little boy stayed in my house because he lives in Atlanta. Yeah, everyone made it happen.
All right, well, Zach Braff, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
We'd like to feature your art on our show. Just email us a picture, video, sound recording, whatever artwork you have created to arts@klrn.org and put the words My Art in the subject line. Each week we'll select a project and share it with our viewers. Next up, we meet artist Charlotte, who's turning trash into high design. Charlotte adds her own spin on eye candy by using recognizable wrappers from candy, coffee, toothpaste, and more to create couture clothing that reflects our material culture.
This project and my own artwork it's very personal, and a lot of it is looking at myself as a consumer and looking at my own sins and forcing myself to save every package that I consume in knowing that, hey, I'm gonna share that with the world. My name is Charlotte Kruk, and I am an artist and high school sculpture arts teacher. We were on a family vacation trip, and I had eaten Now and Laters, and there was no garbage can in sight. And you know, what do? You carry these all day? And I started to think about this packaging, which I was working with, and then I started to, in my mind, see them as textiles and see sewing them back together and becoming this original sheet that they had been cut out of to become just the little individual candy wrappers. All of the effort and engineering that goes into brands and making the product and keeping the product sanitary, you know, for consumers, and then it's just waste. And so we produce so much waste on this planet, and I just thought, you know, okay, I'm gonna hold on to these wrappers because look at what my brain is doing with putting them back together. And I sewed my first wearable sculpture at that point. It's been a tough learning curve to get to making these wearable sculptures. The title of this exhibition at the Racine Art Museum is Consumer Couture, The Politics of Having. It's a way for us as consumers to look at how we consume. So the politics of having is about needing and wanting and having, and at what point we make choices as consumers. Originally, all of my materials, I was the sole collector. So every candy wrapper, every candy bar, every candy that I consumed, I saved. And, you know, likewise with all of the toothpaste tubes, that's me, that's brushing my teeth. And so the collections take a long time to evolve, and it takes a long time to collect enough materials to actually make something wearable.
Racine Art Museum, we're very focused on the handcrafted, and our windows on 5th Gallery. The artist is given the opportunity to install work for a year. They have a lot of challenges. It's 90 feet long and 3 feet wide. They have to hang things, they can't put things on the window. So it's a really nice way to see artists sort of expand their thought process about their own work.
What I've done is tried to fill each of those windows with a little vignette or a little story. Part of my concept is this idea of consumption and how everything starts out very sort of organized, and it's all, you know, it was no big deal that I went and had a cup of coffee, but then when it starts to be the consumption and the overconsumption and it starts to fall into chaos. One of the windows is called baggage. I've taken old Samsonite luggage and I've reinvented it or repurposed it, covering it with Dum Dum candy packaging, and then made these fantastically oversized luggage tags, which are the 7 deadly sins. And they're living in the window with Mr. Goodbar. He is experiencing life with the flavors of the month. And the flavors of the month are the see 12 Barbies that are clothed in dresses that are made out of dum-dum packaging. So the concept of luggage as baggage was the bigger idea that was happening there. The middle window is a wearable sculpture that I made quite a few years ago, and it's made out of 31 flavors, Baskin-Robbins, ice cream taster spoons, and I've drilled holes in them like a button and then stitched each of them onto this dress, and the dress itself is actually made out of recycled piano bags. And then within that scene is 365 silver-plated spoons that have been drilled and hung on monofilament to look like this giant kind of like sunburst moving out away from her body. And so this idea of our plastic culture versus this kind of like old world money culture in our modern society, we can sort of pretend to be whoever we are. The Chewy Fruit Twins are two wearable sculptures that look very similar. One is made from Starburst packaging, and the other is made from Now and Later packaging. And they're intended to look like twins. And if you're a candy consumer, you know that both of those candies are fairly similar. There's a little girl mannequin that looks up at the two wearable sculptures, and to her, in this scenario, they look like piñatas. Behind her, there's sort of like party banners, but they're cut with Old English lettering, 14 virtues. And the concept of the child being fed these words of wisdom. And so will Tallulah, who's wearing, you know, a Hello Kitty coloring book dress with a giant crayon bow. Will she, in fact, take a virtuous path? Will she break the piñata and find treasure, or will she break the piñata and find chaos?
We dress in a way that sort of reflects who we are, and these figures, so to speak, these people that are represented through mannequins are literally surrounded by the things that they consume. And I think that that is really important in a very capitalist culture. This would appeal to people because it's a way for her to sort of address larger, almost more global issues, but on a scale that's actually literally a human scale through the garments. There's a humor in it and a kind of extravagance in a certain way, but also I think it's a nice vehicle for her to address bigger issues.
To some degree, it's fun to see other people's response to the work in hopes that people kind of take witness to, hey, that is trash that she's working with, and look at how she's changed it and hopefully made me think about it in a different way and think about how I am consuming on this planet.
To add your event to the KLRN Arts calendar, visit klrn.org/arts. But before we go, let's check in with our friend Maurice from the Witte.
The Witte is changing every day. Right now we're under construction in the main building, and we're also building the Mays Center at the northern end of the property. The Mays Family Center will be open the summer of 2016 with a fabulous exhibition, the first huge blockbuster exhibition for the center, which is Maya, Hidden Worlds Revealed. We were very fortunate to get that exhibit at the Witte, and so we're excited for the summer of 2016. This building, which you're in the old main building, will be completely renovated by the spring of 2017. Behind me are some of the drawings of the Valero Great Hall and the new HEB lantern, the permanent dinosaur gallery, and we have a brand new Texas Wild exhibition, and our hunter-gatherers from the Seminole Canyon will be upstairs. So it's a complete transformation. We're really excited. Now, this summer will be Discover the Ice Age, about the mammoths, the saber-toothed tigers, the great, huge creatures that inhabited the earth and are now extinct. So we are still, very vibrant. We still have our Robert J. and Helen C. Clayburgh South Texas Heritage Center. Of course, we've got our HB Body Adventure that people just love to have a great time in there and get sweaty and get on the river.
We are on the Riverside. Our Riverside entrance is open for business, so please do continue to come to the Witte Museum. You know, the Witte really believe that we are part of the catalyst along this great corridor with the museum and the art museums and the Pearl, that we are a catalyst for creating San Antonio as the city on the rise and shaping the future of Texas. So we're part of that great movement to make San Antonio a wonderful city.
And that wraps it up for this edition of Arts. I'm Asia Sheravino. We'll see you next week.
Arts is made possible by viewers like you.
Arts is presented by the Tobin Center for the Performing Arts, providing the best place anywhere to see and hear a live performance, transforming the performing arts in San Antonio's decade of downtown. The Tobin Center.
Quite a few people who visit MPEC ask, why is MPEC here in Troy at Rensselaer? And I usually say, well, it just landed from Mars. This was a good landing place, and we are still waiting for the little green men coming out of the concert hall.
For the Experimental Media and Performing Arts Center, that automatically indicates work that is experimental. Also, often the work that we show is time-based.